Hello, my name is Courtney Hinkle. I am the English language teaching consultant for Seed Attica here in France. We are the main importer and distributor of pretty much any book in a foreign language. We work, so English language teaching methods, readers, literature, view, for example. We supply many bookshops across the country and also work directly with the schools. My role is as an ELT consultant. I suppose I do many things, but what I consider to be my most important role is to make sure that you have all the information you need to make an informed decision about what method you would like to use. One thing I dislike hearing from teachers, it saddens me, is that they're using a method that they don't like, or that they didn't have all the information. They shouldn't have bought this one, this or that. And so I really, part of our particularity with Seed Attica is that we feel that the customer service aspect is extremely important. Choosing a book is an investment, and we want you to be happy with the investment you have made. So my job is to make sure you have the right information when you are choosing your materials. That's beforehand. Afterwards, I'm also very happy to help you learn how to implement it in your school, in your lessons, and get to teachers, your colleagues familiar with materials, etc. Help set up digital components if needed, all of those things. For class adoptions, we are also happy to provide teachers' materials for you as a teacher as well. So today we're going to be looking at Oxford Discover Futures, which is a secondary book from Oxford University Press. We'll be looking at who it's for, the level correspondence, overall aims and objectives, student and teacher component packages, and a brief digital demonstration of the different components available. So who is it for? It is a secondary course. In France, the levels would correspond to students in troisième. So the A2 level, which is the level 1, corresponds to A2 Key for Schools. The level 2 corresponds to or correlates to the B1 Preliminary for Schools exam. Level 3 is the intermediate B1 plus, and level 4 correlates to the B2 First for Schools exam. It is international English, which means that it's a mix of accents. Basically, it's not just British English. There's quite a bit of American in there as well, and Australian, etc. Overall aims and objectives. It's quite a progressive book in its approach. It's inquiry-based methodology, which means that each unit starts with a question or a theme, and the language, grammar, vocabulary, etc., is taught within the context of that theme. There's a lot of 21st century skills work as well. 21st century skills, creativity, collaboration, discussion, and teaching them how to think critically about whatever topics in their English lesson, but also these are ideas that are supposed to help them and shape their futures as future adults as well, and help them deal with the real world after school. It's definitely a book that is intended for kids who are probably going to go on and do some higher studies. It's quite academic. It's very aspirational, information-rich topics, and again, the idea is really teaching the whole student, appealing to all of their sensibilities, and less about just English language teaching. Lots of skill strategies, again, like I said, for help with their academic study now and beyond. Life skills lessons as well, to teach them more skills, again, for their future lives. It includes literature lessons, writing workshop with step-by-step writing practice to teach them how to think about, go about, organize their writing, and then of course vocabulary and grammar analysis, which is added at the end. So you've got the language that is taught within the context of a unit and the text, for example, and then you've got extra practice at the end. So it's a very full course. There's plenty of material. And like I said, it's going to really be for students who are engaged, involved, want to talk about global issues, and who are probably looking forward or will be continuing on with higher education afterwards. A couple of the questions that we see, the idea, what is the value of time? How do groups work together? Why do we tell stories? Again, you have the different types of material within each unit. I did mention before, there's integrated videos. It's got lots of videos beginning at the end of each unit. And again, the focus really is on 21st century skills, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration specifically. I realize there's lots of words on the screens, and there will be, but that way I figure if I don't go through it all of it verbally, you can pause the screen and read each of them. So if we have a look at the student package, you have the print student book and print workbook, which comes with a code that gives access to the online practice, which has tons of material for them to do online. The online practice is graded, and you get access to it via a teacher's book, so you can see what your students have done. We'll look at that in more detail in a few minutes. And then, of course, you have a digital ebook version of both of these things, all sold separately, of course. If you are interested in any books, any ebooks, whatever, you just need to get in touch with me, and you can order them through us, and then I send you the code via email. The teacher package has the teacher guide, which is what we see on the left here. That is the print version of the teacher's notes, how to use the material, optional activities, the answers, different ways to introduce the topics, and basically just how to use the material in your classroom. Within this print teacher's guide, you also get a code which will give you access to the Teachers Resource Center, which is the teacher version of the online practice. So you can create a class, invite your students, and follow along on the work that they're doing, but also gives you access to all the assessment and the audio, the video, and things stored in one place, Resource Center. It's all in one spot. You also have a PDF version of the teacher's guide, so you don't have to lug around the teacher's book if you don't want to have the physical item with you. The Teacher Resource Center, as you'll see, is a really great tool to be able to follow along, see what the kids are doing, but you have these nice visuals. You can see, as a class, perhaps they're all doing very well in the vocabulary, but they might need a little bit extra work on the grammar. So you have a nice visual so you can see, helps guide you and what you should work on more in your lessons as well, because you can see what is working well with your students and what you maybe need to work a little bit more on. Classroom presentation tool, students book, and workbook as well. You get a code for that in the teacher's guidebook. We'll have a look at that. It is basically the digital version of the students book and the workbook, interactive with built-in presentation tools. That's why it's called a classroom presentation tool for you as a teacher to use either online, like I will be doing, or in a classroom where you project it. And then, of course, both of those things, Teachers Resource Center and Classroom Presentation Tool, have access to the audio for you directly online. But if you do require class audio CDs, those are available as well. And again, for class adoptions, class sets, or if you buy the books for your students from us, I'll be happy to give you the corresponding teacher's material set, so you can use the material with your students. Going to have a look at some of the unit a unit and how it's set up. So basically, they're all organized in the same way. Again, I won't say everything that's on the screen, but if you want to, that way you can pause if you want while watching and have read each of the topic levels, so you can see what's being pointed out. Each unit starts with a question, clear signposting of what exactly is going to be done, what's going to be studied in each unit. The picture or the image, often found the picture is going to illustrate the main theme or the question of the unit. There was a video as well, introducing the topic. Next spread is the reading lesson, reading to learn. Here we have a reading strategy and applying it, and then they apply it to this text. Again, the grammar and vocabulary is taught within the context of the theme, and in this case also the text. Extra practice is found at the end. So there's less practice in the middle of it. The practice for grammar and vocabulary is there. It's at the end of the book and in the workbook and online. So there's plenty of practice available. Within the unit though, the classroom material is really focused on discussion, getting the kids working together and thinking about the topic. Language and use. This is the grammar and language lesson, again, in context. If they need more practice, you can either do it before or after, at the end of the book, online, and in the workbook. Life skills lesson in every unit as well. The idea is to foster a broad range of skills. So again, things that are useful for them now, but things that will also be useful for them later in life as adults. A writing lesson with step-by-step guidance, always. And then a reflect page, which will invite the students to go over what they've seen and learn with another video, sort of sum up the unit. There's projects after every 2 units. Again, 21st century skills, really getting the students working together collaboratively, using their creativity and getting them to think critically about the subject. Here again at the end, you'll have the extra grammar and vocabulary pages for each unit. It's at the end of the book. And then the writing workshop. Again, this is a step-by-step lesson on writing. So to really get them thinking about organizing their writing and making sure it's very clearly structured for now and again for further academic study. Literature lesson as well. There are a couple literature lessons, and these are not about long texts. This doesn't mean you can't use readers or novels, whatever, alongside your book. These are literature lessons. So really to sort of teach specific strategies when approaching literature, a way for you to exploit it and make it into a lesson within your class. Those can obviously be used with readers and things like that, but these are specific lessons on how to approach literature. This one, for example, is about a poem from Robert Louis Stevenson. So the text isn't long. The point is not for it to be long, but the point is for them to learn specific strategies when taking on or when approaching literature. And we have some of the corresponding workbook pages, just so you get an idea. Lots of practice there. Exam preparation for international exams. Could be their own, could be the Cambridge exams, just different things for them to work on to help them prepare for upcoming exams. So that is that. I now want to take you to the, if I can find it, the Oxford Learners Bookshelf, which is where the classroom presentation tools and the ebooks for students are held. So it's oxfordlearnersbookshelf.com. If you already have an Oxford ID, so if you already have signed up for an Oxford account somewhere, Oxford Teachers Club, Oxford Learn, etc., you will use the same email address because the system will recognize it. If you don't know your password, just have it, if you haven't been in for a while and you've forgotten it, just have your password reset and you can have access then to all of the sites. So this again is the bookshelf. So this is where we have the classroom presentation tools, which has this little teacher up against the board. And again, the difference between the teacher's classroom presentation tools and a student's ebook is mainly the different presentation tools. They both are book on screen. They both give the audio, they both give the video, they both give the answers, etc. But there's more of it's easier to present with the teacher's tool than with the student's tool. So if we go down to Oxford Discover Futures, here we go. If you click on this little arrow here, it will give you the level. So we'll be looking at level B1. We'll open it. Again, book on screen, exactly as though you had the book in your hands. And we're turning the pages. Here we go. You get the menu bar at the top. You can move it if you want it on the side, on the bottom, on the right. I like it on the top. You have the page view as well. You can do a 1-page view, 2-page view, or a scroll view. I will do a 2-page view. My internet connection wants to work better for me, make it go a little bit faster. Currently loading. Okay, so here it is. So Oxford Discover Future, Students Book Level 2. I want it on double page view. There we go. So you turn the pages like this. You can also access the pages by putting whatever page you want in here. Actually, I will go back to one page. My internet connection is not great. So if we zoom in here, we see some of the different topics or questions that start off each of the units. What is identity? How can we learn from the past? How to use pictures? What's the best way to learn? And how can we make the world a better place? It's a big topic. And then if you go over here, you've got the second part. So you've got the reading lessons, the language lessons, as we saw, the life skills lessons, and then the writing lessons. So like I said, it has more of a, it's easier to present with this than with the English, with the student's book tool. Each of the units starts with an image, which will help introduce the topic. And if you, a difference then with the ebook is that you have this tool called Focus. You click on Focus, you get these predefined squares that pop up, and you can choose, you just choose your square, and then it automatically focuses and zooms into that part that you want to focus on. Here, the video, for example, you've got the questions, and you can bring up the answers this way. You can click the video. Now the video you can bring up the subtitles and jump around if you like. Like that. I get out this way. If you have answers that look like this, outlined blue boxes, you can click on Show Answers and reveal them one by one. It's kind of a cool tool. Or you can do them that way. You can answer the questions in the activity and do the activity like that interactively with the students. Show your answers. And we said it was G. Is it G? No, it's D. We said it was D. No, it's G. We said it was D. Oh, we got them all wrong. You can also go to the corresponding workbook page. So this is the language in use. So we want to go to the corresponding workbook page. Oopsie. For example, here, life skills, switch books. Here it takes us, if my internet connection wants to work, will take us to this corresponding workbook page. If we want to go back, we just click that. So you've also got access to the workbook, which will look like this. Again, with the same tools. I'm really having a problem with my internet. So you've got the workbook as well. Then again, same the same tools, focus, reveal answers, switch books. You can go back to the student's book for reference quite easily if you need to. Again, so you click on this, show your answers. These are activities you can do. You can do corrections of the workbook, for example, with your students using the classroom presentation tool. Now, that's the ebook classroom presentation tool, book on screen versions. There is also the learning management system, Teachers Resource Center, and the Student Resource Center. So the students' books, excuse me, the workbooks come with online practice, and the teacher's guide comes with access to this as well. So you get a code for student access in the workbook and a teacher's access in the teacher's guide. And it looks like this. So here I've got 2 levels in it. You can add as many levels as you have material for. Create a class like this. Call it test 1. Create the class. This is the code that you'll give to your students for when they're joining their account. They can put in this code. It'll ask them for a class ID code, and they can give this, and they'll be automatically enrolled in your class. You can add students yourself. You can change the options here if you want to be able to have the students involved in discussions on the site. You have to turn that on, but you can do that. Now, this is very similar to what the students see. So this middle bit here, it says vocabulary and on down up to video, that's exactly what the students see. That is the online practice. This bar over here is what changes for students and for teachers. For teachers, there's more stuff there. It's a Teachers Resource Center. They have extra worksheets that they can download, or you have extra worksheets you can download, tests and assessment. So the entry tests, unit tests, cumulative tests, exam practice tests for if they're sitting in exams, Cambridge exams, etc. There's extra practice here for exams. Unit tests, for example, if you have a look at these, you've got a PDF versions and Word versions, so you can edit them and change things, add things to them if you like. It's nice to have that all done for you. There's also audio that's included here. You have as I said before, a PDF teacher version of the teacher's guide that you can download and have on your computer or on your tablet, so you don't have to lug around your teacher's book if you don't like to, if you don't want to. So we go back to the material itself. Again, you've got here, for example, everything's split up by skill. 50 activities of vocabulary per book for the list level 2 anyway, 60 for the grammar. So if we have a look at them, it's then divided up into units for the unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So first thing we see here will be vocabulary noun endings. So there are 5 pairs of words below. Put the words in the correct category. Here, drag and drop. They have to choose the correct noun ending. There's another text for them to write the word with the right form. Longer text. We go back. We go to some of the grammar. Jump ahead here. Why not? We see the objective. Here's a video. So it's quite interactive. It is drag and drop, so they've also tried to make it as interactive as possible. More reading. Choose the correct. I've studied really hard for the exam tomorrow, so I won't be able to, can't, shouldn't have any problems. He might be ill. If I just choose any answer here, basically they do the answers, and again, it's all corrected for you. Check your answers, and I did not do very well. 4 out of 8, but they can try again if they like, and you'll see their first attempt score. So you'll see what how well they're doing on that. They can do it many times they want to get it right, but you'll see their first attempt. And here there's a listening. So it's quite varied. And again, it's all things that they do online that's corrected for you. And you get this for every student that signed up in your class. So out of the activities available, you can see how many they've completed. I just completed one. How much time I've spent on activities, 1 minute. And then this is quite handy, the color-coded sort of table of the different skills. And you can see who's doing particularly well in vocabulary, but maybe need to work on the grammar with a lot of students, etc. So that is Oxford Discover Futures. Another thing to check out would be the website. OUPELT is what I put into the Google or to the address bar, and you can go to Oxford Discover Futures and use that same Oxford ID that you would have to look up Oxford Discover Futures or any other course. There's tons of material online for free if you go to teaching resources. If you want to find out more, you don't need to, this is all free. You can go directly to the OUP site, set up an account and do this. You don't have to have purchased anything for it. You can download the PDF teacher's guides if you want to know more about the course. These get started with Oxford Discover Futures or get started with whatever title you're interested in. Those are quite good as well because they give you a lot of information about the course, what it's used for, what the different components, and what its overall aims are. Voilà. So that is Oxford Discover Futures. I think it's very well suited to secondary lessons in France because of the topics and because of the sort of information rich the information rich topics and the way that the discussion is run. I know obviously a lot of secondary teachers and I have quite a few already using this method and it seems to work. The grammar is there, but it's not the main part of the lesson. It's very much culturally based and theme based. And obviously there's extra support for the students to go on and do their work and for you to sign alongside of it, but really it's to get the kids talking and engaged in the conversation. And I think it does a good job of that. So this is Get Started with Oxford Discover Futures. You've got the methodology, unit walkthrough, and then different more information about the different elements. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to talk about this or any other method. But I wanted to do a video presenting Oxford Discover Futures because I think it's a really good fit for France. And it's doing quite well. So if you're interested, let me know and I can set you up with some trial codes so you can go on here and check it out yourselves. Thank you.